People buy these cars with confidence because they're supposed to be reliable, good reputation, strong brand names, trusted by millions. But here's the problem. Not every reliable car stays that way. Some of these vehicles start off strong, then quietly turn into financial nightmares. We're talking expensive failures, constant repairs, and bills that hit harder than most buyers ever expect. And the worst part, by the time owners realize what's happening, it's already too late. So today we're breaking down 12 reliable cars in the US market that can secretly turn into money pits. Number 1. Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid, 2021 to present. On paper, this looks like the perfect family vehicle. A plug-in hybrid minivan, great fuel savings, smooth ride, and tons of space. Exactly what modern families want, and at first, it delivers. But then the problems start showing up. The biggest issue comes from the hybrid system itself, the very thing that makes this van appealing. Owners have reported serious problems with the battery pack and charging system. We're not talking about minor glitches. We're talking about failures that can leave the vehicle completely undrivable. Even worse, diagnosing these issues isn't simple. Hybrid systems are complex and repairs often require dealership level service, which means higher labor costs and longer wait times. There have also been complaints about sudden power loss, warning lights that won't go away, and software related faults that keep coming back even after repairs. And once it's out of warranty, that's where things really start to hurt. Battery related repairs can run into the thousands, completely wiping out any fuel savings the hybrid system promised in the first place. So while it's marketed as a smart, efficient family hauler, for many owners, it ends up being a high-tech money pit hiding behind a practical image. Number 2. Volkswagen Taos, 2022 to 2024. This one surprised a lot of buyers. The Volkswagen Taos entered the US market as a fresh, affordable compact SUV, modern design, good fuel economy, and that solid German brand perception. It looked like a safe bet, but early ownership tells a very different story. One of the biggest complaints? Premature brake wear. Some owners reported needing brake replacements far earlier than expected, sometimes well under 30,000 miles. That's not just annoying. It's expensive, especially when it keeps happening. Then there's the engine cooling system issues. Reports of coolant leaks, overheating concerns, and inconsistent engine performance started showing up not long after release. These aren't small problems you can ignore. They directly affect long-term reliability. And here's where it gets worse. Because the Taos is still relatively new, long-term reliability data is limited, but early trends are not encouraging. Many owners are already facing repeat dealership visits, chasing problems that don't seem fully resolved. Add in electronics quirks and sensor-related issues, and suddenly that affordable SUV starts feeling a lot more expensive to own. So while it may look like a smart entry-level choice, the reality is the Taos is quickly building a reputation as a vehicle that costs more over time than buyers ever expected. Number 3. Tesla Model 3 out of warranty. The Tesla Model 3 changed the game. Quick acceleration, zero gas, minimal maintenance. At least that's what buyers were told. And during the warranty period, it mostly holds up. But once that coverage ends, the story can flip fast. The biggest risk comes down to battery and drive unit failures. These aren't typical repairs. This is the heart of the car. And when something goes wrong, the costs aren't just high, they're shocking. Battery replacements can run anywhere from $10,000 to $16,000, depending on the issue. Drive unit repairs, also thousands. That's the kind of bill that can instantly outweigh years of fuel savings. And unlike traditional gas cars, there aren't many independent shops that can handle these repairs. Most owners are locked into Tesla service centers, where pricing and availability can be limited. Then there are build quality concerns, things like suspension wear, interior rattles, and electronics glitches that start showing up as the miles climb. Individually, they may seem small, but together, they add up fast. So while the Model 3 is often seen as a smart long-term choice, once it's out of warranty, it can quickly turn into a high-risk, high-cost ownership experience that catches many owners off guard. Number 4. Ram 2500 Heavy Duty. The Ram 2500 is built for one thing: serious work, massive towing capacity, strong diesel options, a reputation as a tough, dependable truck, and to be fair, it can handle heavy-duty tasks. But that capability comes with a hidden cost. According to long-term ownership data, the 10-year maintenance and repair costs for the Ram 2500 can exceed $25,000. That's one of the highest figures in its entire class. class. Why? Because heavy-duty trucks don't just work harder, they wear out faster under stress. Diesel engines, while powerful, bring expensive components into the equation. Think turbochargers, fuel injection systems, emissions equipment, all complex, all costly when they fail. And those failures aren't rare once mileage starts climbing. Owners also report issues with suspension components, steering systems, and transmission wear, especially if the truck is used regularly for towing or hauling. Then there's routine maintenance. Everything is bigger and more expensive. Tires, brakes, fluids, it all adds up quickly compared to a standard pickup. So while the Ram 2500 looks like a smart investment for capability, in reality it can quietly become a long-term financial burden that costs far more to maintain than most buyers ever expect. Number 5. Land Rover Range Rover. Few SUVs carry the same prestige as the Land Rover Range Rover. Luxury, status, off-road capability, it's the full package. And when it's new, it feels worth every dollar. But as the years go by, ownership becomes a very different experience. The biggest issue here is complexity. Range Rovers are packed with advanced systems, especially air suspension and high-end electronics. And when those systems fail, they fail expensively. Air suspension problems are one of the most common complaints. When it goes out, the vehicle can sag, ride rough, or become nearly undrivable. Repairs can easily run into the thousands. Then come the electrical gremlins, random warning lights, infotainment failures, sensor issues that are difficult and expensive to diagnose. And here's the harsh reality. By the time a Range Rover hits 5 to 7 years old, repair costs can start stacking up so quickly that they rival or even exceed the vehicle's resale value. That's why depreciation on these SUVs is so brutal. They don't just lose value because they're luxury vehicles. They lose value because buyers know what's coming next. So while it may look like the ultimate luxury SUV on the outside, underneath, it's often a ticking financial time bomb that turns ownership into a constant repair cycle. Number 6. Mercedes-Benz GLE 2020 to 2023. The Mercedes-Benz GLE is supposed to represent everything the brand stands for: comfort, technology, prestige, and when it's working properly, it absolutely delivers. But the problem isn't how it drives, it's how often it doesn't work the way it should. The 2020 to 2023 models introduced a wave of new tech, especially the MBUX infotainment system and advanced driver assistance features. On paper, it's impressive. In real-world ownership, it's been a headache for many. Owners have reported persistent software bugs, including frozen screens, system crashes, and features that randomly stop working. And because so many core functions are tied into that system, even small glitches can affect the overall driving experience. Then there are sensor-related issues. Modern Mercedes vehicles rely heavily on sensors for safety and convenience. But when those sensors fail or misread data, you're not just dealing with annoyance, you're dealing with expensive diagnostics and repairs. And here's the catch. These problems rarely show up all at once. They appear gradually, one issue here, another there, until suddenly you're making repeated trips to the dealership. Out of warranty, those visits get expensive fast. So while the GLE looks like a solid, reliable luxury SUV from a trusted brand, in reality, it can become a tech-heavy money pit that drains your wallet one repair at a time. And real quick, if you're getting value from this video, and make sure to hit that subscribe button, because this channel is all about helping you avoid expensive car mistakes before they happen. No hype, no bias, just real data and real ownership costs. Now let's get back to the list. Number 7. Ford Bronco Sport 2021. The Ford Bronco Sport brought back an iconic name, rugged styling, off-road branding, a promise of durability. Buyers expected something tough, something dependable, but the early 2021 models told a different story. One of the biggest concerns? Engine-related issues. There were reports of overheating problems, particularly tied to the engine design and cooling system. In some cases, this wasn't just a minor inconvenience. It could lead to serious engine damage if not addressed quickly. Then came transmission complaints. Rough shifting, hesitation, and inconsistent performance started showing up in early ownership reports. These aren't the kinds of issues you expect from a brand new vehicle, especially one marketed for adventure and reliability. And like many first-year models, the Bronco Sport also dealt with early production bugs. Small issues individually, but combined, they create a frustrating ownership experience. Multiple dealership visits, software updates, parts replacements, it adds up. And once the warranty safety net is gone, those fixes start coming out of your pocket. So while the Bronco badge suggests strength and dependability, the early Bronco Sport proves that not every new release lives up to the legacy, turning what should be a fun SUV into a costly learning experience for early buyers. Number 8. BMW X5. High mileage. The BMW X5 is often seen as the perfect balance, performance, comfort, driving feel, and when it's newer, it lives up to that reputation. But once mileage climbs past that 80,000 to 100,000 mile range, things start to change. One of the most overlooked issues with high mileage BMWs is something enthusiasts call plastic fatigue. It doesn't sound serious, but it is. BMW uses a lot of plastic components in critical engine systems, especially in the cooling system. Over time, heat cycles cause these parts to become brittle, and when they fail, they don't fail slowly. They crack, they leak, they break without warning. Now you're dealing with coolant loss, overheating risks, and repair bills that can quickly climb into the thousands. And that's just one part of the story. Oil leaks, suspension wear, and electronic issues also become more common as the vehicle ages. None of these are unusual for luxury cars, but BMW repair costs are rarely cheap. Labor is specialized, parts are premium priced, so even normal repairs feel expensive. The result? A vehicle that feels amazing to drive, but becomes increasingly expensive to keep on the road. So while the X5 earns its reputation early in life, at higher mileage, it often turns into a maintenance-heavy money pit that demands constant attention and a serious budget to match. Number 9. Jeep Grand Cherokee. Older models. The Jeep Grand Cherokee has been a go-to SUV in the US for years. Comfortable, capable, and widely seen as a solid all-rounder. And to be fair, when it's newer, it does a lot right. But once these models cross the 100,000 mile mark, things can start going downhill fast. One of the biggest concerns is the drivetrain. Transmission issues, transfer case problems, and differential wear are all commonly reported in higher mileage models. These aren't cheap fixes. They're the kind of repairs that can run into the thousands very quickly. Then come the electrical problems. And this is where things get frustrating. Owners often deal with faulty sensors, malfunctioning infotainment systems, random warning lights, and modules that fail without warning. Diagnosing these issues can take time, and time at a shop means more money. And here's the pattern. It's rarely just one big failure. It's a series of smaller issues that keep stacking up, one repair after another, until ownership starts feeling like a constant cycle of fixes. At that point, many owners face a tough decision: keep paying for repairs or walk away. So while the Grand Cherokee has built a reputation as a dependable SUV, older models often reveal a different reality, one where reliability fades and costs start climbing fast. Number 10. Subaru Outback. Post 100,000 miles. The Subaru Outback is often seen as one of the safest bets on the road. Practical, all-wheel drive, strong safety reputation. It's the kind of car people buy expecting it to last forever. And in many ways, it does hold up well early on. But once it crosses that 100,000 mile threshold, ownership can get a lot more expensive. The most well-known issue? Head gasket failure. This has been a long-standing concern with older Subaru engines. When it happens, it's not a small repair. It's a major job that can cost thousands. And if ignored, it can lead to serious engine damage. Then there's the CVT transmission. While smooth and efficient when new, CVTs in higher mileage Outbacks have been known to develop problems. Slipping, hesitation, or complete failure can occur, and replacement costs are not cheap. And just like many AWD vehicles, you also have added wear on drivetrain components over time. More complexity, more parts, more potential for expensive repairs. So while the Outback feels like a smart, reliable, long-term choice, after 100,000 miles, it can turn into a vehicle that demands major repairs right when owners expect it to be at its most dependable. Number 11. Audi Q7. The Audi Q7 is the definition of refined engineering. Smooth ride, quattro all-wheel drive, premium interior. It feels solid, well-built, reliable. But underneath that polished experience, things are more complicated. The biggest issue here is engineering complexity. The Q7's quattro system is excellent for performance and traction, but it also adds layers of mechanical components that require precise maintenance. When something goes wrong, repairs aren't simple, and they're definitely not cheap. Then there's the air suspension system on many models. It delivers incredible ride quality until it doesn't. When air suspension components fail, and they often do as the vehicle ages, you're looking at repair bills that can easily climb into the thousands. Add in advanced electronics, sensors, and tightly packed engine bays, and even basic repairs become more labor intensive. And in the US, specialized European service comes at a premium hourly rate. That means even smaller issues can turn into expensive visits. So while the Q7 gives you that luxury SUV experience, long-term ownership often reveals a different side, one where complexity drives costs higher and higher over time. Number 12. Mitsubishi Mirage. The Mitsubishi Mirage seems like the ultimate budget win. It's one of the cheapest new cars in America. Great fuel economy, low upfront cost, simple, no-frills transportation. On the surface, it feels like a smart financial decision, but this is where things get misleading, because saving money up front doesn't always mean saving money long-term. The Mirage is often criticized for low build quality. We're talking about cheap interior materials, basic components, and an overall design that prioritizes cost-cutting over durability. And over time, that starts to show. Small issues begin popping up. Things like excessive wear on interior parts, suspension components that don't hold up well, and general aging that feels faster than expected. Individually, these may not seem like major repairs, but they add up. Then comes the biggest problem of all: depreciation. The Mirage loses value quickly, very quickly. In many cases, owners find that the car isn't worth much after just a few years. That means when it's time to sell or trade in, the financial hit is bigger than expected. So while it's marketed as a budget-friendly choice, the reality is you often lose more money in value and ongoing fixes than you save at the purchase price. So here's the takeaway: a reliable badge doesn't guarantee low ownership costs. Some of the most trusted cars on the road can quietly turn into serious money pits, especially as they age or fall out of warranty. And that's exactly why doing the right research matters more than ever. If this video helped you avoid a costly mistake, make sure to hit subscribe, because this channel is all about saving you thousands before you buy. And if you think these were bad, you'll want to watch the next one. 12 SUVs dealers are desperate to sell right now, 2026, because some of those deals, they're not deals at all.